Sansa POV. This is a dream. I am dreaming, Sansa thought to herself as sunlight filtered through the clear blue sky and warmed her body. It was a dream in which she was wandering through the Godswood, the very same day Tyrion Lannister had told her that, by order of his father, the two of them would be wed. The news had horrified her, even though Tyrion had been one of the very few who had shown her relative kindness. Sansa had not spoken to him for the rest of that day or evening, and even the Queen had not come to see her before she finally fell into an uneasy sleep. In her dream, she found herself wandering through the Godswood in the Red Keep, the only place where she felt comfortable, since very few in the capital followed the old gods. As she neared the heart tree, she noticed a stranger standing before it, staring at the light brown trunk. Her gaze shifted from the large oak tree. Unlike the other weirwoods in the north and the riverlands, the heart tree in the Red Keep was a great oak. To the stranger, Sansa halted immediately and retreated a step. She knew this was a dream, yet she did not recognize the stranger. How could a stranger be present in my dream? Sansa felt her heart racing. She paused before stepping back again, only to hear a sharp crunch. She glanced down at the broken branch she had stepped on before lifting her gaze back to the stranger, who had already turned around and was staring at her with a faint smile on his lips. Sansa could tell the man was handsome and well dressed in clothing she had never seen anyone wear in the Red Keep. His eyes were a deep brown. He wore a long black coat that nearly reached the dry, snow-covered ground, with a white shirt beneath it and black trousers. Sansa noticed that the stranger was slightly pale, yet still strikingly handsome, with dark brown hair. There was an air of nobility about him as he advanced closer and closer, while she simply stood in place. "Lady Sansa Stark," the man greeted, halting a single step away. Their eyes remained locked for several seconds before Sansa finally broke the gaze and looked down at the ground. Her attention fell upon the shoes he wore, another design she had never seen or heard of. Her heart continued to race, and at the same time she urged herself to wake up. This was a dream, and she needed to wake up. She lifted her eyes again in shock when the stranger murmured, "Waking up from this dream will not take away my offer." Sansa was breathing hard now, wondering how the stranger could know what she was thinking. "I am in your mind, after all," the man added with a soft chuckle. Sansa shivered. She feared this man. She could sense danger rolling off him. As though he had read her thoughts again, the stranger spoke in a gentle tone that suddenly eased the tension in her body. "I am not here to harm you, my lady." The man offered a smile that felt genuine to Sansa. Yet, at the same time, she sensed something predatory lurking behind his charm and confidence. She swallowed before drawing a steady breath. She had faced the dangers posed by Joffrey and the Queen, and she knew that her ladylike behavior would be her shield. It was all she had, after all. Sansa's lips curved into a soft smile before she spoke. "How are you in my mind, my lord?" Only then did she realize that the man had not introduced himself. "How rude of me," he apologized, bowing slightly. "You may call me Dracul Tepes." That was an unusual name, Sansa reflected as the man regarded her with a faint smile. Before she could ask another question, the man, Dracul, continued, "I come from a far-off land, searching for my lost love." "That is romantic, I suppose, searching for a lost love," Sansa thought to herself as she stared at the man. He raised his arm and glanced at a dark red band wrapped around his wrist. Lights blinked at the edges, along with what appeared to be letters and numbers moving across its surface. She could not make them out before the man lowered his arm and slipped both hands into his pockets on either side of his trousers. Narrowing her eyes at him, she watched as he chuckled. "It does not matter where I am from, child," he replied. "I have not been able to find my Mina here. I have searched the castles and holdfasts all over your world, but I have been unable to find her." "All over my world," Sansa wondered. What does he mean by my world? Is this not his world as well? Is he mad? Or am I mad? "You are not mad," Dracul murmured. "I will be leaving soon, but before I do..." Sansa shivered as a freezing sensation brushed along the left side of her neck. "I have seen how you are in pain, both physically and mentally." Sudden fear gripped her. She wanted to run. Her hand rose to the left side of her neck, where she felt the faint sensation of something scratching against her skin. A chill traveled up and down her spine as she stared into the man's eyes. She could not move while Dracul continued. "You think you are strong now, but you are not." Sansa wanted to protest that she was strong. She had once been soft, but she had become ivory, and now she was steel. "You can pretend to be steel, child," Dracul continued as he leaned closer to the stunned Sansa and whispered into her left ear. "But I can give you true power. Power over life and death. Power over the darkness. Power over creatures. And power over your own fate." Sansa inhaled sharply as her thoughts whirled. "You will gain the strength of 1,000 men," Dracul continued in a low voice. "You will be able to force your mind upon those who are weak-willed. You will be able to control animals if you wish. You will be able to turn into any animal you desire. You will—" "Lies," Sansa breathed, closing her eyes. "No lies," Dracul murmured. "You will not have my greatest weakness, the light of the sun." Sansa's eyes opened in surprise. What did he mean? As if hearing her thoughts, Dracul explained, "On my world, I must avoid the sun, or else I die and turn to dust. I have moved beneath the daylight here, and I remain as I am. Your religious symbols do not harm me, though I have been burned slightly when touching wood from those white trees." "The weirwood?" "I suppose so," Dracul replied. Will I die?" "Yes," Dracul answered. Sansa felt her heart begin to pound much harder than before. "I will drink your blood until you reach the edge of death," he continued calmly. "After you have drunk my blood, you will die for several hours before you turn. You will gain the power to defeat those who have crossed you, those who have tortured you, those who have killed your kin. But you will need to feed on the blood of others to survive. The choice is yours, my lady," Dracul whispered near her ear. "If you refuse my gift, I will leave and I will not return. My Mina is out there, somewhere, and I must find her. But if you choose immortality, I will turn you and then depart. You will know what to do by instinct alone." Sansa drew in a slow, deep breath. "It is your choice," Dracul murmured. "What do you wish?" What did she wish? Sansa could no longer tell whether the man was mocking her or speaking in earnest. "He sounds serious enough. He sounds like father when he would speak to the other lords or the small folk." Her thoughts returned to his offer once again. Power and immortality. At this moment, she had no power at all. Yes, she had begun learning the so-called game in King's Landing, but she did not possess the power she needed to free herself from the Lannisters, the Baratheons, or the city itself. For all she had once dreamed of the south, Sansa now longed for the north. She wanted to return to Winterfell, to Robb, to her mother, to Arya. Oh, how she missed Arya. Oh, how she wished Arya were with her now. She is gone from here. She is free. And Sansa remained trapped in the capital, unless she took matters into her own hands. Her thoughts returned to the chance she once had to flee with the Hound during the Battle of Blackwater Bay. She had refused him. It remained one of her greatest regrets. And now? Now, however, she had another opportunity, not only to escape the Red Keep, but to repay the Lannisters for their hospitality. "If I give in to my fear, then I will remain in King's Landing forever as the wife of a Lannister," Sansa reflected. Her gaze met Dracul's once more. "Yes," she whispered. "You will feel a pinch, my lady," Dracul warned before leaning towards Sansa's neck. She closed her eyes and waited, her heart pounding so fiercely that it felt as though it might leap from her chest. Gasping, Sansa's eyes snapped open when she felt her skin tear. She stared up at the ceiling of her darkened chamber, while feeling a mouth latch onto the side of her neck. Then, just as suddenly, the pain faded. All she could hear and feel was the rush of her blood leaving her body as the man, or the thing, drank deeply. Sansa's body struggled weakly before the man tightened his arms around her while continuing to drink her blood. She began to feel tired. Her body slowly turned numb. Though the night had been warm when she lay down, she now felt terribly cold. Her eyelids grew heavier with every passing moment. Finally, the man released her neck and her body. As she lay upon her bed, Sansa saw Dracul's face hover above her own. She wanted to scream at the sight of the fangs in his mouth and the blood smeared across his lips. She wanted to scream at the unnatural red of his eyes. Quietly, the man lifted his left arm and used the sharp nails of his right hand to cut open his wrist. As her vision dimmed, Sansa saw blood drip down his arm before he lowered the cut above her mouth. She could feel nothing now except the drops of blood landing upon her lips and slipping into her mouth. The taste was heavenly, like drinking wine from the arbor. A sudden rush surged through her body. Reaching upward, she grasped Dracul's arm and pulled the bleeding wrist against her open mouth. Sansa craved his blood. She needed it to quench her thirst, her sudden, consuming hunger. The more she drank, the heavier her eyelids became. "Sleep, my lady," Dracul murmured. Her eyes closed, and then she knew no more. To be continued.